Plants vs Zombies Garden Warfare is back, but this time the fight isn't just for the front lawn, it's for the entirety of town. Perhaps showing the same kind of fear of the number 3 that Valve are now routinely teased about, the third multiplayer shooter in the Plants vs Zombies universe is Battle for Neighborville, not Garden Warfare. Battle for Neighborville has got a full release date on the 18th of October, but EA and PopCap are kicking things off with a Founders Edition of the game which is out today. This can get you into the game up to 6 weeks early, with PopCap then drip feeding in the game's modes and locations as they look to evaluate the game balance and make tweaks ahead of full launch. Not something that should really be necessary, and we'll come back to that. But we got to go hands-on with the game ahead of time, and as grand as the name is, things initially feel very, well, samey. This is still built on the same remarkably solid foundations as Garden Warfare. And there's now absolutely no doubt that PopCap know what they're doing here. I mean, let's not forget just how easily dismissed this series was when it was first announced as an Xbox exclusive, only for Garden Warfare 2 to then cement the series' credentials. It is a triple threat with a mixture of versus and cooperative multiplayer built around a social hub area that allows for some more dynamic battling. That hub is now bigger than ever before, with Zomboss's base and Crazy Dave's manor on either side of the Giddy Park fairground rides. And once you've done your bits and bobs at base, visiting the various daily check-in points and customization portals, you can seamlessly head out to meander on and between Ferris wheels, merry-go-rounds and so on. You'll have a smattering of basic NPCs to battle and blow to bits, but this is a social area, and so people from the other side of the war, between the flora and the undead, can come out and do a little bit of fighting with you as well. This area proved to largely be a kind of passing distraction in Garden Warfare 2, good for the times when you're waiting for your friends to come online, but Battle for Neighborville is taking that freeform design into the co-op side of the game as well. This is now based around PvE regions, going from the desert canyons of Mount Steep through the town centre of Neighborville and out the other side to Weirding Woods, and these are designed with free roaming in mind, featuring NPCs to meet, missions to take on and more. But our hands-on time with the game really came with the head-to-head multiplayer side, and it feels like Battle for Neighborville is kind of hoping to be branded as a hero shooter maybe, instead of a class-based shooter. The series' roots came in the asymmetry between defensive plants and attacking zombies, but this was largely evened up for Garden Warfare 2 with largely parallel classes, albeit with some differing abilities. For this game, PopCap have carried on with that thread and have created a trio of new classes for each side. There's a new frontline fighter in the fire-breathing Snapdragon and the kind of crossbow, shotgun-wielding zombie action hero. You've got the faster, stealthy Nightcap opposite the electric roller skating of the electric slide, and the most direct parallel is between the Oaken Acorn and the Space Cadet. These final two are by far the most interesting in terms of the gameplay, starting off as a faster, smaller character that is not particularly powerful, but then being able to transform or summon a larger form. The Acorn can turn into the Oak and have a much more powerful main gun. It can also spit out some rolling spike logs to batter into enemies. The thing that makes this go beyond what we saw in Garden Warfare 2 though is that you can host up to 3 more Acorns atop his head, making him a kind of walking tree tank. The Space Cadet is practically the same but from the other direction, able to summon a slow, hovering space station with ultra-powerful beam attacks and letting you host other Space Cadets inside to fire off as cannons. As you'd expect, it hangs together really nicely, but PopCap are now jumping aboard the latest trends in the games industry, namely the Battle Pass. Except it's free, so you shouldn't really call it a Battle Pass. The reward festivals are available to everyone and they are free, eschewing blind box loot in favour of giving players choice to work through a map of unlockable reward nodes as you play. Conceptually, it actually feels much more akin to the kind of seasonal content and challenges of Battlefield 5, where you also have a similar kind of map to navigate, but do this through completing specific challenges on a weekly basis. And so it's a good few steps away from the paid straight track of unlocks that we find in Fortnite, PUBG and their ilk. These festivals, which kick off with the game's full launch on the 18th of October, also thematically transform the social areas. Other paths to the game's extensive customization options are going to be the Mr. Rewardatron 9000, which is based purely off in-game progression, and after launch, more cosmetics, victory slabs and emotes that can be bought through Rux's Emporium using the Rainbow Stars premium currency. But by and large, you don't have to spend an extra penny, thankfully, and the game will continue to grow and evolve through these seasonal events with more maps, characters, modes, and features. Except, as I've already mentioned, you can play the game even sooner than that. EA haven't decided to announce the game and then wait 6 months or even just this 6 weeks before launch, but have in fact announced and effectively released the game at the same time. You can play the game right now with the Founders Edition available for a discounted $29.99 or whatever the equivalent is where we live, and this is compared to the $39 for the final release. And this is where I'm not terribly chuffed with Battle for Neighborville. It shouldn't really be necessary for the third game in a series, not to mention a game from the publisher the size of EA, to go through this kind of foreshortened early access period like this, with a 6-week drip feed of additional modes and features throughout. PopCap say that they want to tune the game with their most ardent fans, and that's probably a good thing considering the high-profile struggles of Star Wars Battlefront 2, Battlefield 5 and Anthem. But again, it shouldn't be necessary, and with the quality of Garden Warfare 2, and not to mention the similarities between that game and this, it should not be necessary. A good old-fashioned open beta would do the job of testing and feedback just as well, but then I guess that doesn't really rope your customers into giving you money. Still, having said all that, I have been a fan of these Plants vs Zombies spin-offs since their inception, with PopCap having found this magical way of twisting what was once a humble computer and mobile puzzle game into a great online shooter series. Not only that, but each time they've managed to take some of the latest trends in the broad shooter genre and pull them off with aplomb. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going into Battle for Neighborville over the next few weeks, that is absolutely for certain, even if I wish EA had just waited until October. Thanks as ever for checking out this video. This is basically just a very quick look at the first offerings of this game. There's a couple of further embargoes coming over the next few weeks as PopCap reveal new modes and let people show them off as well. Though we might follow up this video if enough of you out there are watching this. So if you do want to see more about this game as the things are coming out, make sure to like, subscribe and share this video as far and wide as you feel like you can be bothered to. Hopefully we will see you for those sometime soon. Goodbye!